Journey to the West, an audio drama series. Chapter 33, Part 2. We now talk about the great sage who was pressed at the bottom of mountains due to the monster using a magic trick. When bitter, he thought of Sanzang, and in disaster his mind was on the divine monk. In a loud voice, he shouted, "Oh, master, think about the time when you peeled off the seal at the Two Frontier Mountain. Elder Sun was freed from my ordeal and converted to Buddhism. I cannot stop thinking about how Bodhisattva passed on the religious edict to me so I can live, cultivate, witness, and understand the same way you do, as we share a common destiny. Who could have thought that we would come across wicked calamities here, and I am once again pressed beneath a mountain? Poor me, poor me. You may be destined to die. I'm only sad for Sha monk Ba Jie, the young dragon who transformed into a horse, and all the effort they put in. This really is a case of the tree is so large that it captures enough wind to topple itself. A man strives so hard that his fame is enough to doom himself." Once he was done lamenting, his pearly tears were falling like raindrops. Soon enough, it disturbed the mountain god's tutelary of soil, guardians of the five quarters, along with other gods. They gathered as the golden head guardian asked, "Whose mountain is this?" A tutelary of soil answered, "It's ours." "Who is pressed beneath your mountain?" The tutelary of soil said, "I have no idea who this is." The guardian explained, "You really have no idea. The one beneath is the heaven-equaling great sage Sun Wukong Xingzhe, who wreaked havoc in the heavenly palace 500 years ago. He has now converted to the true fruit and become a disciple of the Tang monk. Why did you lend the mountain to a monster spirit to hurt him? You are all dead men now. One day when he frees himself, do you think he is willing to spare you? Even if he lets you off lightly, the tutelary of soil will end up as a worker in the courier station, and the mountain god will be sent to military labor. We will also be punished for not doing our jobs." Only then did the mountain gods and tutelary of soil say in fear, "We really had no idea, none. All we heard was that monster reciting a spell that summons mountains, so we moved the mountain over here. Who would have thought it was the great sage Sun underneath?" The guardian said, "Don't be afraid. It says in the laws that those not aware are not held accountable. You and I need to discuss this and let him out in a way that doesn't result in him beating us up." The tutelary of soil said, "That makes no sense. We let him out, and he still wants to beat us up?" The guardian explained, "You have no idea. He's got a compliant golden-hooped rod that's quite powerful. If hit, you will die. If touched, you will be injured. One stroke will break your tendons, and a single rub will make your skin crumble." The tutelary of soil and mountain gods became so frightened inside, so they had a discussion with the guardians of the five quarters before arriving in front of the three mountains. They called, "Great sage, mountain gods, tutelary of soil, and the guardians of the five quarters have come to see you." Splendid Xingzhe. He might be a skinny tiger, but his ambitious heart was still beating. So naturally, he answered with heightened spirits and a loud voice, "What are you seeing me for?" The tutelary of soil responded, "To inform the great sage we are here to move the mountains away to get you out. Please pardon this humble deity for the crime of disrespect." Xingzhe said, "Take them away and I won't hit you." Then he yelled, "Move away!" As if a government order had been issued, the gods all recited the true spells which returned the mountains to their original position, so Xingzhe could be freed. Hopping up, Xingzhe dusted off his skirt before straightening it up. Pulling the rod from behind his ear, he shouted, "Mountain gods and tutelary of soil, present to your ankles. I will give each one of you 2 hits first, just to relieve my boredom." The gods all panicked and said, "The great sage has only just promised to pardon our crimes. Why are you breaking your word after you got out and still wanting to beat us?" Xingzhe said. Splendid tutelary of soil, splendid mountain gods. You aren't afraid of Elderson, but are afraid of a monster spirit instead. The tutelary of soil explained. That monster has immense powers and impressive magical tricks. He can recite a true spell and have us summoned to his cave each day to stand duty on rotation. Xingzhe heard the phrase on duty and became quite shocked too. Facing the skies, he exclaimed, Heaven's sake! Heaven's sake! Ever since the chaos split to create heaven and earth, the mountain of flower and fruit gave birth to me. I used to travel around in search of wise teachers so they can teach me ways to eternal life. Think of how I can transform by the wind, subdue tigers and dragons, cause havoc in heaven, and call myself the great sage. Even then, I have never betrayed the heart and ordered mountain gods and the tutelary of soil about. How very unruly this monster is now. How dare he make mountain gods and the tutelary of soil his slaves and servants, going on duty for him in rotation. Good heavens! If you already gave birth to Elderson, why give birth to this creature also? Just when the great sage was complaining, he noticed a fiery glow coming from the hollow of the mountain. Xingzhe then asked, Mountain gods and tutelary of soil, since you have been on duty in this cave, what is it that's glowing? The tutelary of soil answered, That's the monster's treasures emitting light. I'm guessing the monster is bringing his treasures here to subdue you. Xingzhe said, That sounds like a good chance for some tricks. Let me ask you, who else does he have visit with him in the cave? The tutelary of soil answered, They love refining pellets and elixirs through alchemy. Taoists are who they prefer. Xingzhe said, No wonder he turned into an old Taoist and fooled my master. If that's the case, remember the strokes you owe me and go back to where you came for now. Wait till Elderson catches him on my own. The gods thereby jumped into the air and dispersed. With a shake of his body, the great sage transformed into an elderly Taoist master. Look at how he was dressed. Buns on his head and a robe wrapped his body. With a small drum in hand, he tied his waist with a silk sash. Leaning by the main road, little imps he intended to encounter. Soon the targets arrived, and it was time for the Monkey King to unleash his cunning tricks. Before long, the two imps arrived. Xingzhe pushed the golden hoop rod out. The imps didn't notice, so they tripped over and fell forward. Only when they got back on their feet did they notice Xingzhe, so they muttered, How brazen, how brazen! If it weren't for the fact that our great kings respect people like you, we would have it out with you right now. Xingzhe smiled along and asked, What is there to have it out for? When Taoist meets Taoist, we are all one family. The imps asked, Why are you sleeping out here for us to trip over? Xingzhe answered, When young Taoist boys meet elderly Taoists like myself, you have to take a fall to serve as gift money. The imps said, Our great kings only demand some silver as gift money upon an encounter. Why do you take falls instead? You have a different custom. No way you're a Taoist from here. Xingzhe explained, I really am not. I'm from Penglai Mountain. The imp said, Penglai Mountain is the immortal realm made of seas and islands. Xingzhe said, If I'm not an immortal, who else can be? The imps withdrew their anger and put up happy faces as they approached to say, elderly immortal, we have fleshly eyes and mortal bodies, so we had no way to tell. Our words might have offended you. Please don't blame us. Please don't. Xingzhe said, I won't. As the saying goes, immortal bodies do not step on mortal grounds. How could you possibly tell? I'm here in your mountain today to enlighten a good man who has found the way to immortality. Which one of you will come with me? Xin Sigui answered, Master, let me go with you. Ling Lichong also answered, Master, let me go with you. Xingzhe then asked questions he knew the answers to. Where are you two from? The imps answered, From the Lotus Flower Cave. Where are you going? The imp said, By the order of our great kings, to capture one Sun Xingzhe. Who? The imps repeated, 孙行者. The real 孙行者 then said, Do you mean the 孙行者 who is accompanying the tongue monk for scriptures? The imp said, That's right. Do you know him as well? 行者 answered, That monkey is rather rude. I do know him, and I quite resent him too. Let me go with you to capture him. Just count it as me assisting your cause. The imp said, Master, there is no need for your assistance. Our 2 great kings have quite the magic skills and summoned 3 great mountains to keep him pressed beneath, so he can't move even a bit. We were told to bring 2 treasures here to have him bottled. 行者 asked, What treasures? 金细鬼 answered, Mine is a red gourd, and his is a jade immaculate vase. 行者 asked, How will you bottle him inside? The imps explained, We will have the treasures bottom sides facing the skies, and the openings pointing towards the ground. Then we call his name once. If he answers, he will be sucked inside before we stick a seal with the spell 太上老君急急如律令奉敕 on it. Within a few 时辰, he will be reduced to pus. 行者 heard that and became secretly shocked, thinking, Impressive. When the chronicler of days sent me the warning, he did mention 5 treasures. These must be 2 of them. I wonder what the other 3 are. He then smiled and asked, Gentlemen, let me have a look at the treasures. The imps had no idea what he was up to, so they took out the treasures from their sleeves and handed them to 行者 with both hands. 行者 saw them and was so delighted, he thought to himself, Fine items indeed. If I flick my tail and jump away in a flash, these will be free gifts for Elder Sun. But then, he thought, No way. I can rob them all right, but it will ruin Elder Sun's reputation. This would count as daylight robbery. So he handed the items back to the imps, saying, You still haven't seen my treasure yet. The imps asked, What treasure do you have, master? Allow us mortals to have a look so our misfortune can be warded off. Splendid, 行者. He then reached down and pulled a hair from his tail. With a rub, he said, Change. And the hair transformed into a giant red gourd of purple gold, measuring 1 尺 and 7 寸. He pulled it out from his waist and said, Can you see my gourd here? 林立虫 held it in his hand for a closer look, before saying, Master, your gourd is so long and huge. It's fine looking, but it's of no use. 行者 asked, What do you mean, no use? 林立虫 answered, The 2 treasures we have here can each swallow 1,000 people. 行者 said, What's so impressive about swallowing people? This gourd of mine here can swallow the sky. The imp said, That has to be a lie. We will only believe you if you swallow the sky for us to see. If not, there is no way we will believe you. 行者 said, If the sky irritates me, I will swallow it 7 or 8 times each month. Otherwise, I can leave it alone for half a year. 林立虫 said, Oh, big brother, it's a treasure that can swallow the sky. Let's swap with him. 金细鬼 said, It can swallow the sky. How is he willing to swap with something that only swallows people? 林立虫 suggested, If not, why not give him the immaculate vase too? 行者 was secretly delighted, thinking, A gourd for a gourd with an extra immaculate vase. 1 thing exchanged for 2. This is a perfect trade. So he approached and seized 林立虫, asking, If I swallow the sky, will you make the exchange? The imp said, Only when you swallow the sky will we agree to the swap. If not, we will be your sons. 行者 said, Fine, very fine. Let me swallow it for you to see. Splendid, great sage. As he lowered his head and held the right gestures to recite a spell, he gathered 日游神, divine wanderer of the day, 夜游神, divine wanderer of the night, and guardians of the 5 quarters to instruct them. Report to the Jade Emperor for me this very instant. Tell him that Elder Sun has converted to the true fruit and is escorting the tongue monk to West Heaven for scriptures. Our journey is blocked by a high mountain where my master ran into disaster. Those treasures of that monster are things I wish to lure them into swapping with me. With infinite please, I would like to borrow the sky so Elderson can have it bottled up for half a shichen to aid my cause. If you say half a no, I will go up the Hall of Miraculous Mist and start a war. The divine wanderer of the day then went straight inside the southern gate of heaven. In the Hall of Miraculous Mist, they reported to the Jade Emperor about everything that took place prior. The Jade Emperor said, "This insolent monkey head is not making any sense. Before this, there was Guan Yin who came to inform me that he was freed in order to protect the Tang monk. We then sent out the guardians of the 5 quarters and the 4 chroniclers of time to escort them in rotation. Now he's asking for the sky to be bottled. How can the sky be bottled?" Just when he was stating the impossibility of the matter, among the ranks appeared 3rd Prince Ne Zha, who reported, "Your Majesty, the sky can be bottled." The Jade Emperor asked, "How?" Ne Zha explained, "Ever since the chaos split, the light and clear became heaven, and the heavy and murky became the earth. The sky is a mass of clear air that supports the jade heavens and their palaces. In theory, it certainly is hard to bottle, but Sun Xingzhe is escorting the Tang monk westward for scriptures. It is truly a case of blessed destiny as great as Mount Tai, and goodwill deep as the seas. We should help him succeed today." The Jade Emperor asked, "My worthy official, what do you think can be done to help him?" Ne Zha suggested, "Please issue an edict to the northern gate of heaven to ask Emperor Zhenwu for his great black flag. We will just spread it outside the southern gate of heaven and block the sun, moon, and stars. It will be so pitch black that people won't see each other even face to face. As long as we can help coax the monsters into believing the sky was bottled, this can help Xingzhe succeed." The Jade Emperor heard that and said, "Do as you suggest." And so the prince received the edict and arrived at the northern gate of heaven. He met with Zhenwu to explain the matter. The patriarch therefore handed the flag to the prince. In the meantime, the divine wanderers quickly descended to whisper to the great sage's ear, "Prince Ne Zha is here to help you." Xingzhe looked up to watch, and there were indeed auspicious clouds gathering, indicating the presence of gods. He then turned around to say to the imps, "Let's bottle the sky." The imps asked, "Just do it. Why drag it out like you're defecating cotton?" Xingzhe explained, "I was just concentrating my mind and reciting spells." The imps both had their eyes open to see how he would bottle the sky. Xingzhe then threw the fake gourd upward. Think about this. It transformed from a hair. How heavy could it be? It was picked up by the wind from the top of the mountain and flew in every direction. Half a shichen passed before it finally dropped. And there outside the southern gate of heaven, Prince Ne Zha loudly spread out the black flag. The sun, moon, and stars were all blocked. It truly was a world dyed with ink, and a universe adorned in indigo. The 2 imps said in astonishment, "It was just noon when we were talking. How did it reach dusk so soon?" Xingzhe explained, "Since the sky is bottled and there's no way to tell time, how can it not be dusk?" "Then how did it get this dark?" Xingzhe answered, "The sun, moon, and stars are all bottled inside and there is no light outside. How can it not be dark?" The imps asked, "Master, where are you talking now?" Xingzhe answered, "I am right in front of you, aren't I?" The imps reached out their hands to touch, asking, "We can only hear you talk but cannot see your face. Master, where are we now?" Xingzhe fooled them again by saying, "Don't move your feet. We are on the coast of the Bohai Seas now. If you miss a step and fall down, you will drop for 7 or 8 days and still won't see the bottom." The imp said in panic, Never mind. Let the sky out then. We understand that's how it's bottled. If this keeps going and we fall into the seas, we won't be able to go home." Splendid, Xingzhe. He saw the imps take it for the truth, so he once again recited a spell to inform the prince to roll up the flag. Soon, it returned to the sunny skies of noon. The imps laughed and said, "Oh, amazing, absolutely amazing. If we don't swap for a fine treasure like this, then we really can't call ourselves the frugal sons of home. And so, 金细鬼 handed over the gourd, while 伶俐虫 took out his immaculate vase. Together, they passed the items on to 行者. 行者, on the other hand, handed the fake gourd to the imps. Once the treasure exchange was complete, 行者 still wanted to make the deal stick. So he pulled a hair from his armpit and blew divine breath onto it, turning it into a coin, and said, "Little boys, take the coin and go buy a piece of paper." The imps asked, "What for?" 行者 answered, "You and I will write a piece of contract. You use 2 man-swallowing treasures to exchange for my sky-swallowing treasure. I fear people might find the deal unfair. It will be very inconvenient if you have regrets about it many years in the future. That's why we should write a contract as reference." The imp said, "There is no brush or ink here. How can we write a contract? Let's just swear about it." 行者 asked, "What sort of swear?" The imp said, "The 2 man-swallowing treasures of ours have been swapped for your sky-swallowing treasure. Should we regret our decision, we will be stricken with plague all 4 seasons of the year." 行者 smiled and said, "I certainly will not regret the deal. Otherwise, I will suffer from plague all 4 seasons just like you." Once he made his vow, he jumped up, wagging his tail, and hopped right outside the southern gate of heaven. He thanked Prince哪吒for the labor of waving the flag to help him. The prince then went back to the palace to report on the mission, as well as return the flag to Zhenwu. We will speak no more of that. 行者 then stood in the skies to watch the imps. We do not know what will happen. Please wait until the next chapter.